UCSF employee for 19 years in 10 CVT, and I'm one of the officers for AFSCME 3299. So we are here because UC announced that they are laying off 3,000 workers. And right now they sent out unemployment layoff notices to 200 AFSCME workers, 160 in San Diego and 90 in Riverside. So they have 10 billions in reserve and endowments, and we want to tell them do the right thing, because they always tell us we are essential, we are heroes, we are frontline workers, but when the goings get tough, we're the first ones to let go. So that is unfair, and we want to let them know that do the right thing, and if they want to chop from the top.
There's a lot of well-paid executives.
Yes, that's why our battle cry is chop from the top and no layoff, because of their 10 billion reserves and endowments.
And construction.
Look at that. There's a construction going on right now. Yeah, so UC do the right thing. 3,000 plus their family. It's not 3,000 times 3, so that's 9,000. That family is gonna get affected.
Will this affect the patients?
Excuse me?
Will it affect the patients?
Yes, because if they going to lay off essential workers, the staff will gonna go down. So short staffing.
What should Governor Newsom do about this? You think Governor Newsom should speak out publicly about this?
Well, we're trying to ask Gavin Newsom, and I think we're asking him to support the UC workers.
When do you want it? Now! When do you want it? Now! What do you want?
Job security!
Now! We are not essential workers! Like responsible!
My name is Erica Wright. I work here for 11 years now in the catering department. Well, what we're talking about is layoffs, permanent and temporary, and how unfair that is. A matter of fact, we just signed a contract, finally got our union contract signed, and then they turn around and do this. It's very hard for us as it is, because we're essential workers as well, not just the higher ups, but us people on the lower rung are being treated like we're nothing and unimportant. We all have families to take care of and can't really afford to lose this money. You know what I'm saying? So it's very hard for me to accept this, because I feel like UC is being greedy as usual. Unfortunately, this is the way I feel. They're very greedy, and they care really nothing about their workers. And they play a game with us like they care. They gave us free parking during the convoy, and then turned around and said, well, since you guys got free parking for those 2 months, no bonus. Without even asking us, did we want free parking? I mean, we didn't even have a choice in the matter, but now we're being, I feel like, punished for what was supposed to be a good gesture. And it turned out to backfire and stab us in our back, and we lost money. And now they want to lay off people. And we want to fight for everybody's right to keep their job and have job security.
You think this is part of systemic racism? When we talk about racism in this country, that they're laying off frontline workers, not the executives who are making...
I do, because most of us are people of color. I mean, you can just look who's out here. And absolutely it has something to do with that. No regard for us at all. Never have, never will.
And Governor Newsom, where's he stand on this?
On this specific topic?
The cutbacks of frontline workers here at UC. Layoffs.
I mean, to be honest, I haven't heard anything from him. So, I mean...
You think he should take a stand?
Absolutely. I mean, I do like Governor Newsom, and I would love for him to get involved in this, just so that everything's a little more fair. If you're going to get rid of people, can we start with the people who can afford to be gotten rid of?
You think this is union busting and racism? The executives are making all this money, mostly white. I mean, the students, mostly large number of whites, blacks, or very few students in the UC system.
Yes, there are. And what was the question? I'm sorry.
Do you think this is part of union busting and racism?
Yes. Yes, I do. They've been trying to bust our union for a while now anyway. And
They hire a lot of lawyers. They spend millions on lawyers to fight the union.
it's working a little because they keep raising the, well, they gave people an option to opt out of paying for the union, right? And it's some people who don't realize the effect of that. You know, oh, it's nothing. That's not, my little money is not going to affect you. But if we have how many people doing that, you know.
And this is a public university. I mean, it's controlled by the state. Now, the Board of Regents are mostly white. There are very few black, Latino regents. Why is that?
Because the white man runs it. I mean, you know, they've been running this country for quite some time. We know with the Black Lives Matter situation that we mean very little in general in this country. And it hasn't changed. This is something that's been going on for years and years and years. And it's sad to me because I try to tell my children they can be anything they want to be as long as they work hard enough and, you know, strive to be the best. But in reality, even if my son is walking down the street and he's a doctor, he can be thrown on the ground and murdered. You know, so everything has a little to do with race, I feel. You know, whether people want to admit that or not. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, let's be honest. Let's take a look in the mirror, at the man in the mirror, and see what's really going on.
Well, they're executives making millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It doesn't seem like they're chopping any of them or saying
they take a pay cut. I mean, why can't you take a pay cut? I don't understand. I'm a cook, chef. I love it. I won't lie. And I love it, but sometimes it's hard to do that job here because since we're talking race, I felt like when I first got here, I've always been targeted. I would be talked to about things that other people wouldn't, you know? And it's like, well, why are you talking to me? They did the same exact thing. And there's no real reason other than, well, we just want to talk to you because X, Y, and Z, you know? So yeah, you see, I feel it's definitely a racist institution.
I'm James. I'm one of the PCAs here at 15 Long, the COVID unit over at Parnassus campus of UCSF. We're out here today because UC is instituting 3,000 temporary and permanent job layoffs. They are coming with 2- and 4-week notices. We need economic security. Our patients need us. We are short-staffed, and they know it. We're out here to let people know that if you want to keep having good patient care, you need to call up your senator, you need to call up Regent Richard Blum, Dianne Feinstein, you need to tell them no job cuts. We are the essential workers, we're not disposable. No more lip service.
They have a big budget, multi-billion-dollar budget. Why would they go after frontline workers?
UC has $10 billion in reserves right now. We're always the easiest to cut from the bottom. That's what it's been every single time. For 3 years, we went without a contract. 3 years, no raises. We'd love to see the executives institute 3 years of no raises for themselves. How many millions of dollars would we save then? So we got to look at chopping from the top. Where's the biggest waste? At the end of the day, when you're budgeting at a grocery store, you look in the cart and you see what's essential. We are the milk, the bread, the butter, the eggs. We don't need champagne and caviar. We don't need $1 million salaries for photo shoots. We need patient safety. We need staff safety. We need our workers on the line. We showed up the entire time.
Governor Newsom, where does Governor Newsom and the Lieutenant Governor, they're on the Board of Regents, where do they stand when they cut down for frontline workers?
So far, there's been an absence of voices. And what we know is that 3,000 is just a preview. What they want to do, probably 10. But the media would have backlash. So they're going to test the waters and see if we're willing to fight it. Well, we are. The Bay Area, UCSF is the second largest employer in the Bay Area. If they cut jobs from us, that's debilitating the city's economic security at a time of unprecedented need. Bay Area families, frontline workers, should not be going to food banks to feed their families. We should not be risking homelessness because they want to institute pay cuts. Frankly, we see waste everywhere at the top, and it's time to start looking there.
Is there systemic racism involved? Large number of these workers are African American.
I just found out that 200 of our food service workers are on the chopping block. Let's be honest here. Minority workers, most of them, brown and black. UC's just paying lip service. The chancellor sent a letter saying they care about black lives, that they want to remove all racism on campus. The fact is, if you want equality on campus, then you cannot cut the most essential workers that are going to be impacted the most. No more lip service.
How would that affect the people, the patients?
On my unit, they've cut PCAs. That means I'm a patient care assistant. That means when you hit the call light and you need someone to help you to the bathroom, when you get sick, when you have any needs, you need to get cleaned, you need anything at all, I'm the one that sits with you and gets you through that experience. I used to take care of 8 or 9 patients. Now I'm taking care of 16 patients a night. I'm running down the hall with a drenched shirt and my patients see it. If you care about your patient's response, if you care about the quality of care, then you need staffing. We are essential up there. I've told the bosses, I've gone through the chain of command, but my name isn't budget, so they don't care about me.
Do you think this is negligence on their part? If they're getting rid of workers who are taking care of
The fact is, they are calling back staff that they redeployed because the units are short, and for one reason only, because our staff have learned to file ADOs, assignment despite objection, incident reports. We are documenting these safety concerns and they are compelled to make a response. They are having to call back workers, but they still want to keep these cuts in place and we have to fight them.
You think Governor Gavin Newsom should speak on this? It sounds like a matter of life or death could be.
Quite frankly, I need Gavin Newsom. I need Mayor London Breed. I need Senator Dianne Feinstein. I need Nancy Pelosi. Frankly, we need the Republicans to jump in too. We have to fund hospitals. The hospital is making excuses. They have money, but they also need funding. We cannot afford to lay off our heroes. We showed up through the process. Executives sat in their mansions and ordered us to go into unsafe situations with tissue paper and told us it was safe. We were there through the whole crisis. We showed up for the city. We got everybody through it. The low levels, we all pitched in. Now it's time to look out for us.
Largest union here. What do you think labor movement should do about this? It seems like it's not just an issue for AFSCME, but all unions.
Right now, all unions are getting on this board with the same message. We all know the cuts are coming across the board, and they're not telling us totally where till the last minute. Every position matters right now. We're 22,000 workers strong, but UC will always spend $1 fighting us when we ask for 70 cents in support.
And there's 75 billionaires in California, 175 billionaires, 75 in San Francisco, 175 in California.
The fact is, all these endowments coming in from all these billionaires, do you think that your money should be going to executive pay and bonuses? Or do you think you should be preserving staff, patient care, quality patient care? There's a reason we're the #1 hospital in this state. But how are we going to do that when I can't even see my patients?
This is Steve Zeltzer with...
He's from Labor Video
Can you
Project.
talk about what's going on here? What's your name?
Lisa can do it.
Okay. Hi. Okay.
Okay, so why don't you introduce yourself first?
I'm Lisa Milos. I'm rank and file member of UPTE, University of Professional and Technical Employees. And we're here in support of AFSCME, who UC is planning on laying off 3,000 workers statewide. The 3,000 doesn't seem like much, but to tell you the truth, that's 3,000 lives and 3,000 families we're dealing with. And most of those workers are essential workers. Most of those workers are AFSCME workers who are the hardest hit, and they are the lowest paid workers. They're the ones that clean up hospitals. They're the ones that keep patients safe from falling. They're the ones that keep the cafeteria food going. They're the respiratory technicians who have been saving lives. We really need to make sure that UC puts its priorities in the right place, because the chancellor stated that he really supported Black lives, and yet he's not supporting Black lives when he's basically throwing out the workforce, there's a large percentage of AFSCME workers who are workers of color, including black workers. And so he's not supporting black lives if he is laying off workers of color and black workers.
And the regents, Richard Blum, Dianne Feinstein's husband is on the regents.
Yes.
Where is Gavin Newsom in the Democratic Party? They're on the Board of Regents. Have they stood up for that?
I haven't heard. I haven't heard anything about any declaration by Gavin Newsom in support of UC workers yet. But I'm just a rank and file worker, so I'm not necessarily involved in that level. However, what I did hear was that UC has $3.4 billion at its disposal, and what they're putting that money is in so-called construction projects, these capital projects that they have. But you can't be worried about buildings when when the workers are the ones who do the job and take care of the patients and teach the students. It's the workers that we need to be caring about, not the buildings.
Do you think they're putting the patients in danger?
Yes, they are. I think they would be if they're going to be laying off people in the middle of a pandemic when we need to make sure that our hospitals stay clean, that our respiratory technicians are also I don't want to make the false claim that they're planning on laying off respiratory technicians, but that's also part of the AFSCME workforce. And those are 3,000 people that are 3,000 lives, 3,000 families in the state of California that would be facing layoff during the middle of a pandemic, when UC has no business doing that, when it has $3.4 billion at its disposal.
And there's 75 billionaires in San Francisco, 170 in California. What does it say that they're laying off frontline workers with all the billionaires in California?
Well, it tells me that they don't have the priorities placed, because there's billionaires here that we could be, that Gavin Newsom and the rest of the state legislature could impose upon to make sure that they pay their taxes and pay more in taxes at least, But like I said, I'm just a rank and file worker. I'm not speaking on behalf of my union or any other union. I'm just speaking on my own behalf.
Your union supported the ILWU Juneteenth. Why don't you talk about that in its connection to this?
Well, the Juneteenth was my union endorsed the action of Juneteenth that was sponsored and organized by the International Longshoremen and Warehouse Union, a union that has been defending black lives during all their 80-year existence. And they've been facing a really tough time right now at Howard Terminal, where Don Fisher from the Gap is trying to put an A stadium there when it doesn't belong there, and try to construct condominiums there at Howard Terminal in the Oakland ports. And so Don Fisher is also destroying black labor because a large percentage of workers of the ILWU at that port are black and are people of color, and so our union endorsed that action in Juneteenth. It was a major action, and the issues that we're facing are very similar in the sense that it's mostly black and brown people who are being affected by COVID. They're at disproportionate rates. It's mostly black and brown people who are being laid off, so-called essential workers, but they're not essential enough to be able to keep them on the job. Meanwhile, it's billionaires that are getting the support of local governments as well, because the mayor of Oakland supports Don Fisher and does not support black labor or the ILWU. So we need to stick together as unions and to defend people's work.
And the regents are appointed by the governor. Most of them are white. They're very few Latino and
yeah.
Do these regents represent the people of California?
They don't. The regents don't represent the people of California. And it's interesting that if you look within our microcosm of UC, you see most of the lower wage workers are workers of people of color, black and people of color. And there is less of a percentage of representation of people of color at the top. And that's within UC that you can see that as well.
So you're saying UC has systemic racism?
I believe so. I believe that UC is blind to it, but yes, I do believe that UC has it's within its system, within its structure, it's blind to the fact that there's not many people of color at the top.
So what should people do?
Well, organize. That's what we need to do. We need to keep organizing within our unions, within our workplaces. We need to keep organizing.
at 11:15, but I keep on ringing the doorbell for them to go down. But for 15 minutes, nobody went down. Nobody even answered the intercom. So right now, I'm going to read the message that we want to send to the CEO of UCSF Medical Center, Mark Lorette, or Sheila Antrim. We are UCSF medical workers. We are here today because UC has announced their plan for temporary and permanently layoffs of up to 3,000 frontline workers. How many?
3,000!
So far, over 200 AFSCME members have received layoff notices. We are outraged by UC's decision to go after frontline workers while sitting on its excessive $10 billion in reserves and endowment. Let me repeat that. While they are sitting on its excessive $10 billion in reserves and endowment. You hear that, Mark Lorette?
Shame on you!
Enough is enough. Stop putting profit before people. Stop attacking the most vulnerable communities. Stop abusing frontline workers and stop the layoff.
You should read it.